our third major. Best of 5 in front of these two teams. I cannot wait to get underway. Immortals will be starting on the blue side, Sentinels on the red. First priority from Immortals, they do ban away the Riven. So, hey, Camille is on the table still, but we'll see if they ban that away later.
That has been a mainstay. That ban versus MTS after their Game 2 loss, or Game 2 victory for Immortals in the second major, they do not want to play against this guy again. MTS was the sole reason that there was even a thought that Sentinels could potentially come back in that lower bracket from that run. So they don't want to play against it. I think it plays pretty badly for what Araki Zoro tends to play, which is these Renekton's, these Gragas. It just doesn't fit the play style. And when you're looking at some of the other champions that we've been talking about, Camille, Varus are both kind of just sticking to the ban table, not going to really go on.
Varus. Yeah, like if you're red side, I think that we're going to see this every single time. But yeah, Immortals do agree with me. Get Camille off the table. It's a flex pick for Sentinels. Sheesh looks fantastic on it. So I think it makes a lot of sense to take that off the table. And there's the TF ban. So giving respect to Hoon's champ pool there, Sentinels do not want to deal with all of that global pressure.
They want to make sure that they're protecting MTS because I think we're going to be set up.
Interesting to see Immortals put the focus on the Herald, though.
This is really strange, in my opinion, just having Araki Zoro kind of free farm up against Rest, just because I do not want to be giving free farm over to the Kaisa. Allowing her to scale in a matchup where we already got the early first blood is very, very dangerous, and I think offsets a lot of the advantage. We'll have to see. Are they going to just immediately drop this Rift Herald in topside? They are. They wanted to get gold right now, hand over fist.
They go for the dive. They're right onto MTS, but the explosive cast. Yikes, in trouble because the rest of Sentinels have joined in. That's a kill picked up. That's 2 picked up. As the package used by Hoon. Valkyrie over the wall, trying to get onto Rest. Goom flashes away, but Rest keeping the fight going on to Hoon right now. Has the backup from the team. A double kill to Rest, and Sentinels right back in this game.
Immortals, that has to be a communication flub right there because they're going for too many different targets all at the same time. Goom has not cleared out of that top turret and is not able to enter into the fight. And you see Yikes go very, very aggressive. We'll even get a replay of it coming up on our screen soon. But I don't know, Immortals, I feel like they got a little bit dizzy. They got caught up in the hype of the play. We get to see it here. They try to go for beginnings back here, but Goom, he's still under turret, guys.
Yeah.
Like, can't do anything here.
I think that was Yikes said, okay, let's go on to MTS right as Rakan was spotting out. Wait a minute, there's a couple of members of Sentinels here. I don't think we can kill the Gragas fast enough, but they're going for it again. This time, straight onto Rest. Just blow up the Kaisa before any response can come through for Sentinels. Beginning to not even have the ultimate to use there, so Immortals do find a crucial pick.
Greedy pathing coming out from Rest, and a good punish from Immortals, where doesn't have flash, doesn't have the ultimate or the heal, so immediately blown up. That's exactly the kind of killer instinct that you expect. It's supposed to be for Kaisa, but Immortals seem to all have it on lock for themselves, and they're going to look to try and break down this turret, but it's up to Sentinels. Their wave clear with the Lulu and the Gragas is looking like it's up to snuff.
They can prevent the turret from going down, but
Oh.
Immortals find another play in the Baron lane. Now,
Sheesh.
Lee Sin goes for it, gets another kill, so it is traded back. Sheesh turns it around in the Dragonside River there. It is 1-for-1.
Both of the mid laners going down. And I'm sure Michael Udall, as kind of the mentor for Sheesh, is probably feeling like, all right, that's exactly what I like to see. My young jungler popping off, rectify, saving my, the punish that Immortals just made onto me. You'll have to see it.
And that's that's what we expect from Sheesh at this point. I mean, I know it's kind of tough to say we expect heavy carry performances from such a young player, but when you have this many in a row, you're setting yourself up to be one of the top junglers in the tournament. That comes with expectations, definitely living up to those. Awesome to see this from Sheesh. But Immortals will finally crack that first turret. It is in the Baron lane. They finally get that objective, the standing gold, and are now close to 2,000 in the lead. This is a decent lead for them. Nothing that Sentinels can't come back from, but Immortals are starting to find their foothold in this game.
Immortals, I'm wondering what the effects of this play are going to be, because now you look at the itemization and it's a huge lead for Rocky Zoro. Getting out of this lane has a level lead, has a bunch of kills to their name, and are starting to look very, very strong. Goom also going for this build where it's based on how much more ability haste can I have with the Essence Reaver and with the Mirror Mana. You want to just spam out those volleys and get the ultimate on cooldown as soon as possible. Because this top turret didn't go down for like an additional 2.5 minutes after the Rift Herald was dropped, or 3 minutes, I wonder what this does for their tempo and trying to get back onto the map and trying to equalize this gold, because it is 2,000, like you said. A small one, but still one for Immortals. And with Dragon coming up, I wonder if they're going to be starting to prepare for that and looking for our first team fight of the game.
I actually am favoring Sentinels on these resets. We see everybody reset from Sentinels around the same time, but Immortals have staggered resets. Goom is a little delayed on this. You saw Charm wanted to reset,
Should be here in time.
Was stopped. Sentinels are running right towards the Dragon. They have the inside track on it. You're right, Immortals, they can group up. They still can look to contest this.
Oh, they didn't catch the ward.
Sentinels are walking.
No!
Oh, they don't see that they're spotted. Okay, now they see it.
There it is.
All right.
There it is.
Clear that one out. That means that Zoro could have a flank here on the Renekton, so Sentinels have to be very careful on their approach.
Recognize this. Immortals, they have the package, and they obviously were the first ones into mid lane. Sentinels recognize they cannot do this. Oh my god.
Oh,
sheesh.
bait out
okay,
the Ash Arrow.
they get
bait out the
huge.
package. That's not bad. Sentinels, they just
I'll
use
take that.
Sheesh. Not even having to burn Flash. Now Zoro jumps straight onto Michael Udall, gets Flash out of Orianna, chasing down, just solo kills Michael Udall, while the rest of the team now trying to win this fight. Sentinels, they're very split, and they are routed. That was a beautiful engage from Iraqi Zoro, and the rest of Immortals were ready this time. All members strong. They have a couple low health bars, but with just Rest and MTS up for Sentinels, I cannot imagine that they're actually going to contest for this Dragon. Yeah, they just walk away. They're giving this objective up.
Oh my god. Iraqi Zoro is a beast on Renekton. Solo carries that entire fight, being able to find that kill onto Michael Udall. No barrier available at the time, and that just means they get the Dragon. They get a bot tier 1 as well. Immortals coming out swinging here. 5,000 gold in their advantage. And they're just abusing the item lead that they have. We can take a look at that replay for this fight, but this is a good start for Sentinels. But the response here coming out from Immortals is just that much better.
It looked good to start from Sentinels because they get the Ash Arrow, they get the package. It's like, okay, now reposition for the fight, but Iraqi Zoro says, I'm not going to give you time to reposition for the fight. I'm just going to jump immediately onto this Orianna, and Sheesh was not willing to just invest the Dragon's Rage immediately. Sometimes you just got to bite that bullet. Just say, okay, there's a Renekton on my Orianna. Kick away. Get out of here. You are not going to kill my mid laner. But obviously they weren't expecting that level of burst damage from Iraqi Zoro, and you see what happens at the end. Immortals, now like you said, up in gold. This is a substantial lead. This is a lead that they can snowball.
Okay, I guess I'm getting a little scared right now. My throw prediction is I'm gonna need some Sentinels copium.
You gave the
fast.
3-0, man.
I know, dude. I was riding the hype train, and now I mean they trade ultimates between jungler and Baron laner, and they throw out the ultimates to try and find something. But this is just a natural poke war here.
Explosive
from
gas
Immortals.
does not land. Okay, Sentinels were looking for something. They don't find it. They do defend that mid turret, but blue buff stolen, and Immortals, they're happy in this position. They didn't really commit anything for that play.
without a turret going down for Sentinels, Immortals are more than glad to just say, hey, we have priority in some of these lanes. We have priority coming in from our Dragon lane. So we can just take an entire quadrant. So Sheesh is kind of operating on a lot less gold and experience than Yikes would. At any moment, Yikes can just say, all right, well, I'm just going to go back to my side of the jungle farm, or even take the top side quadrant. So this mid turret is doing a lot for Sentinels and doing some work, but it is the next thing that Immortals, that they are able to take it down.
Oh, the Ash Arrow from downtown. CC follow-up from Charm. Zoro tries to collapse, but Wild Growth is enough. Beginnings sticking on top of Rest. No Summoner spells blown. I like Immortals' play, though. They're trying to get these picks, get these engages onto Sentinels. Because if they kill Rest there, that's probably Baron. Like, they're at that point of the game where that's what they're thinking.
They're fishing for it, and I love the fact that they're doing it. Like you said, we're just looking for something, and they can find these engages. Now that the fact that they got a lot of the spells away from Begs on this Lulu, no Wild Growth means you can repeat that play. Ash ult is up again.
Yeah, like the cooldown build you were talking about, it's going to be up every, 20 seconds, basically, at this point. Like, Immortals can keep looking for these kinds of plays. But right now, the name of the game is just controlling the wave pushes. They don't want to give any turrets over to Sentinels. They haven't dropped one yet. Let's see what the cooldown actually is on that. I don't think we can.
I don't think we can. Yeah, not from the.
This is a 65 ability haste. That's a lot.
Jeez, that's so much. Wow. All right. Well,
somebody wants to do the quick math on that one.
Quick math
maybe,
on this one.
Twitch chat. Charmer while he's hosting, he can just pull out the calculator and let us know exactly what the math comes out to. But realistically, it just means it's up a lot here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not flat anymore, right? Because it changed from cooldown reduction to ability haste. But
that's why I gave him the calculator. I'll let him take out the TI-89. Do some calculus with it, figure it out. I don't think anybody actually knows what it means. But regardless, Immortals do finally crack their final outer turret here as they get that mid one. And a dragon spawning, so Sentinels, they have a choice. Do they use this time to get control over these lanes, or do they go for the fight? Obviously, they opt for the fight, but Sheesh does not find the right engage. Immediately into the Guardian Angel. Has to come out of it right to his death. Charm continues the engage, going forward, gets another double knockup. But Immortals actually can't find purchase at this state of the game. Boon's here with the package, though. They didn't have the Corki the entire time. Package forward. They caught out MTS. And that means with Baron laner and jungler down, Immortals can just win this fight. Charm! Oh, does go down. All right. One traded back for Sentinels. Low HP bars on Iraqi Zoro, but Sentinels also, they can't approach. This will be a third dragon. Actually, just the second dragon picked up there by Immortals. But they're even going to get another one. You flashes forward. Auto attacking here onto Mikey Doll. Goes into Stasis. Goom.
Yeah.
Follows up, and the kill over to Yikes. That is an ace for Immortals.
Okay, everybody, if you heard me say 3-0 Sentinels, no, you did not. Pretend. We need to get that flash button where it's just put it in front of the camera for Twitch chat, and just boom. Men in Black, you no longer have any memory of it. Sheesh, a little bit early on this Baron steal.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I was holding my breath thinking maybe Sheesh had it in him. I like the attempt. Obviously, it's a tough moment, but after that kind of loss there, losing the team fight, losing the Baron, 11,000 gold lead for Immortals. Yeah, I'm going to say it, Alec. I don't think your 3-0 prediction is looking too hot. Sorry, you know what? You just shocked everybody. You just shocked everybody, so they don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Yeah, your 3-1 Immortals prediction, the same as mine. Looking pretty good.
Whoa. We're changing. We're being a little revisionist now. Okay, look. Let's just say, from this point, Immortals, they're the first seed. They're looking good. I mean, they're making the correct plays. I think Sentinels are kind of in this awkward position where they're trying to allow for certain members to be very aggressive, but without a outright engage tank or someone like MTS or like this Renekton, it's very hard for them to find purchase in any of these fights. I mean, again, Charm on this Rakan, just globally, it's been one of the best supports in the game, but also just for Charm, it's one of those, he's like a champion specialist, so good at this Rakan. And with this Baron and with the goal lead that they have, they basically get to just choke Sentinels out of the rest of the map. No more jungle quadrants for you. And they're going to have to find some kind of miracle under a turret or with a 5-man, 3,000 elo shockwave. Something needs to go here right for them.
I know it's tough for Sheesh, especially as he just gets chunked out there. 1-4 right now, but if I'm looking at this, it's going to come down to either Sheesh or Mikey Udall. One of those tools, Oriana Ultimate, or the Insect plays from this Lee Sin. But I don't even know if they get a chance to do it, because Rest has to flash away, almost went down. No inhibitor turrets left. All three have fallen. Sentinels have to make the last stand under the Nexus. And I don't even think Immortals are going to give them that opportunity. They're resetting. They're backing right now on the precipice of victory. They say, nah, we'll give them one more fight.
Look, no team in competitive history for Wild Rift has come back from 3 inhibitors going down, so this one is long done and dusted for them. 18,000 gold, like you just said. Now, there is the one silver lining that we could potentially give for Sentinels, is that last time they met in Majors 2, they did almost come back. It took them 40 minutes, but they did come back from a lead like this, and Immortals still ended up winning. Now, I don't think they have the same tools like they did in the last time, so it's probably not going to happen, but in the back of everybody's mind, I just want that to exist. But Immortals should be able to clean this out, and we should be going to a game 2. I think
got to be like the longest
if they don't
ever
close this out,
game.
Yeah.
It's got to be Charm. Okay, do you follow up? Actually goes for the rest of the team. Doesn't land the knockup, though. Little over eager. Charm might just go down here. Oh, very close.
Oh my god.
The ranged minion autos were following him. I thought maybe he would die to that, but he survives. But all right. Okay, it's not going to be 40 minutes, right? But maybe it'll be like 19.
Oh, now we're counting down seconds. Okay, if we want, let's just call our shot, right? Let's say 1925. What about you?
1925. You know what? I think it's going to be... I'll go 1924. How about that? I'll take the coward's way out. The coward's way out.
Come on.
I'll just say it's going to be under, and anybody else can take the over bet. Maybe Charmer comes in, says 1926, just to make yours ridiculously hard to get.
He might be a little bit mad right now. I don't know if he really appreciates us doing this right now. I think he'd want us to focus on the game right now as Immortals.
Probably.
They're focusing
they are the teleport setups.
They want to fight.
Sentinels retreating back into their base. They don't even have turrets to hide under, and Immortals are going to capitalize on that, but a nice disengage from MTS. Charm almost goes down again, but Zoro's onto the entire team of Sentinels, and Michael Udall's already down. That's a pickup for Immortals. They do back off. They don't want to keep pushing here with the 5v4 lead, but Dragon has spawned. It looks like they're just going to disengage and go for that.
IMT, why are we just winning? Guys, just set up your waves. Hoon just gets a kill. They find it. They killed Big. That's all. I mean, that's literally an entire minute now that this guy will not be here. Yikes is able to go in on MTS.
That's another
just end the game,
Are you kidding me?
Come on.
That is 2 Ash arrows. That's got to be like a 20-second cooldown by this point.
Yeah.
Oh,
look at it. It's already a quarter done. It's already a third of the way for the cooldown.
Yeah, we could just count the seconds at this point. But no, I mean, the Nexus is still full health, but the Baron's going to be picked up by Immortals too. Sentinels, it's a slow bleed, a slow way to end the game, but this is what you call the maximum percentage chance. They're going for the 99.99% chance of victory right here.
Okay, look, a win's a win, and I'm gonna take it, but I really think Immortals could have ended this game already. It's triple inhibs. You're letting Sentinels farm some more waves, which, I mean, at this point, this is the last stand. Beg is back up. Rest has 4 items on this Kai'Sa. Shockwave lands.
But look at the damage traded back. It's just ridiculous. Yikes, and Charm diving in there. Charm dies underneath the turret. The Fountain doing a lot of damage. Rest gets 1, but cannot find another, and that's it, everybody. Immortals will take game 1 in dominant fashion with a massive gold lead.
Well, both of our predictions ended up going right, so, you know, a little bit of humility there. I think Charmer got the closest one there. We got them in prediction chats.
He did say 21-47.
Immortals with an incredibly dominant game of
fresh. And also, I'm just realizing we didn't do Hoon justice in that last game. I'm just looking at the stats. Did 29,000 damage. That is close to Rest's high score from earlier on in the day. So yeah, very impressive from Hoon on that Corki. Sentinels over the blue side. What I had predicted is that they'll leave Ashe up, but then first pick it for themselves if Immortals don't ban it away. Still an option because they're choosing to ban away the Renekton first here. They did identify that that was an issue. Didn't really have an answer for it for Hiraki Zoro.
So what ban is now left? Because we already talked about it. It's Twisted Fate, Varus, and Olaf. So does it mean Olaf is going through? They are on blue side, so they can try to go for the first pick. And what do Immortals respond with? Because they've been loving the Riven up against Sentinels. They've been sticking to Camila as well. And I think that Senna might be the Ashe instead this time.
You think, okay, so if they do an adaptation, it's don't let Sentinels get the Ashe. I mean, if you're Immortals after that game, I think that they have more in the tank too. Like, the Ashe almost feels more like an issue that Sentinels need to deal with than Immortals need to deal with. But obviously, both these teams would be willing to blue one that, so still in the pool here for Immortals. But Sentinels, yeah, you're right. They banned away the Olaf, Twisted Fate, Varus in that first round. Now, I think probably still the TF. Xin Zhao. Okay, interesting.
Wow. Okay. Taking away carry junglers, Camille is still on the table. So wanting to get a really strong junglers here for Yikes. If we're looking at his jungle pool, it looks like the next thing that's going to come up is potentially a Pantheon. And when we're looking at trying to be an early game accelerator and trying to play cross map, I think Pantheon fits that role perfectly.
But Olaf is on the table too, so they need to ban away the Olaf before Yikes would probably go to something like that, just based on what they've been drafting so far. Okay, yep, Camille ban still makes sense. I think Immortals, they have that one on lock. They're like, no, don't give Sheesh this pick, especially when you already see that the Xin Zhao is taken away. Because Lee Sin could also be that next string jungler. I think Sentinels, now that you have banned Xin Zhao, maybe you still do go for that Olaf ban. But then the problem is, if you don't lock in Ashe Blue 1, Immortals can just grab the Lee Sin Red 1 or Red 2. And then what jungler are you going to go for? Like, it did a very strange thing to the draft here, opting for the Xin Zhao.
I'm kind of scared here. I'm kind of scared here, Kangas. So we finally get to see Senna.
Varus ban.
Yeah. I have a feeling that because Senna is up, I wonder if Immortals are going to kind of fall for this, because Charm has played some Senna and has looked good while doing it, but I really, really like what Immortals have engage options coming from the support role. And I think Senna may be a trap if Immortals, kind of reach for it. So it may just be a ban that is like preemptively like, hey, this is like a test, right? Say, hey, we're going to let Senna up, and if you let it go through, or you're going to pick it, because it's important for the rest of the series.
Yeah, because it was Immortals abandoned against Sentinels in that game number 1, so that would almost be a takeaway. Let's see what Sentinels opt for first, though, because Ashe wasn't banned. It's Olaf banned from Immortals. Lee Sin is on the table. If Sentinels go for Ashe, I think Immortals go for the Lee Sin. If Sentinels go for Lee Sin, you got to imagine Immortals go for the Ashe. Puts Immortals in a tough position right now for, like, what is the big priority? What's that number 1 champion that they need to lock in right now? And they're even taking their time with it. Okay, they are going for that Lee Sin, because, yeah, look at the jungle pool. Right. It's heavily pinched.
Okay, Immortals, what's your response? Are you going to be the ones to pick up the Ashe? You're going to do Ashe Lulu? You can just try to go immediately for something like an Ashe with a support. I think what they'll actually just do here is pick something like a support jungle pairing that's really, really strong. I can't think of one right now. I mean, you could try to just pick up Wukong versus Lee Sin, and you can grab yourself the Lulu as well, or just do something like with that. But it seems like they're just going to have Gragas and Ashe.
Yeah.
Gragas can be played in support, and Charm is a rather good one at that.
Exactly. So it's a flex pick along with that priority Ashe pick. If they hadn't picked Ashe, I would have been very surprised based on the priority that they've been giving that throughout the entire day. But Sentinels, they still get this Orianna back to comfort pick, and they do grab the Senna that's been banned against them throughout the entire day as well. So it seems like Sentinels are defaulting back to just what they feel comfortable on, what they enjoy playing the most, whereas Immortals, they have a lot of flexibility still. They haven't really shown too much of what their game plan is. They can go for picks. They can go for team fights. They can go for kind of front to back with these champs that they've locked in. But Alec, you're right on that Pantheon. Looks like that's Yikes' next tier jungler.
Okay, what's the counter pick for top lane? I would really like to see Charm on Gragas and just give this counter for Araki Zoro. Beggs is going to be picking up the Thresh. This means that we're going to see another Jarvan in the top lane here for MTS.
Jarvan, Thresh, so that will be Orianna in the mid lane then, and Charm's back on the Rakan. So, Pantheon jungle, Gragas top lane into that J4, and then Hoon back on that Corki that did 29,000 damage in that last game. I'm not actually sure. Like, I'm liking Immortals and what they've put together here, but Sentinels, I do value comfort a lot. I just don't think of Beginnings necessarily as a big Thresh player.
again, it's Sentinels with a scaling composition that will do very well in team fights, but like Charm gets into the backline and now Senna's in a threat. Hoon can very easily ignore it with the package. Pantheon does a very similar thing as well. Is also a very low damage composition coming out from Sentinels. The longer fights go, I'm sure that they're going to be loving that, but you don't really want to get into a long, drawn-out battle versus someone like a Corki or an Ashe. So Sentinels, I think, set themselves up in a very awkward position here early on.
Especially when you look at their engage options, the J4 Orianna combo that we saw them pull out against Cloud9 as well. But like you said, they don't have necessarily the burst damage to follow it up. Maybe Sheesh and Rest we're not giving enough credit to because Lee Sin can get in there as well. Rest can follow up with the ultimate. So some tools for Sentinels, but time will tell. Can they pull off the tools that they've drafted for themselves? Immortals up 1-0 in this best-of-5 series here. Drawing first blood in the series. Sentinels on the back foot now. Both junglers starting on the top sides of the jungle, which presumably means that they'll be pathing bot side. Could potentially see some action in this dragon lane for once.
Oh, well, last time it didn't go very well for Sentinels. Immortals got the first blood. They're abusing the fact that they have this Ashe. And I wonder if it's a farming Senna or if it's a, you're giving Thresh the gold. It looks like it's not going to be a fasting Senna, so she'll be just picking up all of the gold in this case. But Sentinels need to be very careful because Pantheon, as we saw earlier in our normal game, is a very good jungler, especially when piloted by some of the best hands here in North America. You're saying?
What's your win rate against players in the Wild Rift Summoner series again?
Oh, come on. They're not even in this major.
Trying to remember.
They're not even in this major.
Just against the pro players you've matched up against, Alka. I gotta keep you humble, man.
It was a normal game. I went up against CM Rito, and I got absolutely smashed trying to play Evelyn and versus Lee Sin. Not my fault that in a normal game with my girlfriend, there's just... In her first couple games of playing the game, there's a GM and a diamond player.
Chat right now from Alec, but flash out from Rest. Sentinels, the AD carry gets a little aggressive, and you know how dangerous Charm is on this Rakan, showing it yet again. So Rest without flash means that is a big target on his back.
Especially going up against the dragon that's going to be spawning soon. You have to think that's a repeat offense that you can go for. And already the bot lane.
Yeah, they're going right for it. Rest
down.
Just immediately pays the price for using Flash earlier. Beginnings cannot keep the Senna alive. That was even through heal as well. And the exhaust. So all summoner spells save for Thresh's Flash are down, and Immortals still get first blood.
Okay, Sentinels. So what have we already learned for next game? We're banning Ashe, or we're picking it first.
It's not over.
It's so good.
It's not over.
Beg?
Oh, nope. It appears
they have ult on Charm.
Be over. All right, they're out. They're not going to go for the dive. I thought they would. I'm kind of surprised they didn't, honestly, other than just knowing Beginnings still had Flash. But still, you can see how aggressive Immortals want to play this game.
They're just abusing the bot lane matchup again. The dragon lane, I think Sentinels are going to have a continuous problem where they're not drafting for prio lanes in the dragon lane. Not by giving over this Ashe repeatedly, you are saying, hey, we don't want to really play around our bot side, and we're just going to give over, objective priority, kill priority, and we see it again.
Rest still doesn't have sums. That's an early shield used there by Yikes. A good position for Beginnings, but they just flash aggress onto Rest. The ultimate's thrown out. Rest is still alive. Buys time for Sheesh to get in here, who just says, all right, I'm not going to shield you. I'm not going to help out my AD carry. I'm going to look for Goom, but can't find it. The target selection from Sentinels not on point there, and they will lose their AD carry again.
Punishing Senna early on is not the worst thing to go down, but the gold is much appreciated for Immortals. They've already now hit some early item power spikes. Iraqi Zoro is able to back and pick up a stone plate here, but the fact is that the bot lane is continuing to be a problem. This is something that is kind of following them from the majors, and something that we thought that they had fixed coming into this one with their performance so far, but IMT, their bot lane is this much better, and they're showcasing that game in and game out.
But this time around, Sentinels are on the Herald, and Immortals are not answering with a Dragon. They're going to contest this. Herald goes over, package used. Hoon looking for the team fight. MTS in trouble. Sheesh will go down, and MTS make it to safety. Doro's on top of him. The rest of the team cannot save this J4. Oh, they do! Beginnings with the Lantern and the Flay. So they secure the objective and only lose one member for it. Not the worst play from Sentinels. You'll take that at this point.
But look at this, Immortals are just leading them around the map. Ashe is now on the top side, picking up some of those waves. In the meantime, it is just an ARAM. Everyone's around mid, we're fighting.
Charm might get bursted down here. You gotta be careful. Oh, Rest has to flash. Was trying to get towards that Thresh Lantern, but it was on the wrong side. That sentence landed onto Yikes, but there's no follow-up. So again, flash down on Rest, and that should be dragged into Immortals.
They're losing everything, and Sentinels, I don't know what it is. I'm sure some of them are over at Michael Udall's house trying to just play off of the Google Fiber internet that I know he's packing, but like, guys, get into the huddle, get your meditation out, whatever you need to do, because you're looking pretty lost here in the grand finals. There's, you know, we're playing for money. You're playing for seeding in the regional final, in the regional championships, and they just look lost.
It feels like, again, the target selection not as strong as Immortals. Immortals looking like the better team, fighting team, the more coordinated team this time around, but Sentinels do drop the Herald in that Baron lane and do crack that turret. That's a nice injection of gold into their pocket. They're still a little behind, but again, it's nothing that they can't recover from. So if this is the strategy from Sentinels, avoid the big 5v5 team fights and trying to outplay your opponents, instead play for sidelines, I actually think that that is going to be their winning strategy throughout the series.
It'll be nice, but they're fishing with an ultimate here. They're trying to go for Michael Udall.
Asher going all the way out to the bottom lane. Lands onto Michael Udall, who goes down. Yikes picks up that kill. The global threats of an Ashe arrow from Baron lane and a Pantheon ult coming in from the jungle. Like, how are you supposed to account for that?
You know who did a very similar thing? Sentinels did yesterday. They fired off an Ashe ultimate from the bot lane, and they landed it onto the enemy mid laner. I think that was in their first match versus Joe2 is cute. So, I mean, I guess they're just taking notes. Immortals are like, anything you could do, I could do better. And like you were saying for this composition, it's not the absolute worst that they're behind early, but when you're trying to go for these scaling matchups, you just want to lose with grace. You do not want to be going down early against something like a Corki, which is going to make Senna's life much harder, especially if Charm is allowed to play the game that they want.
You're talking about the low damage composition, the Senna scaling, getting those souls, big part of their damage in the late game, and yeah, being this far behind, not the way Sentinels wanted to start it, so instead they're again going for these split map plays. Charm flashes forward, trying to lock down Sheesh under the turret, but Sheesh does get away. Michael Udall does as well, so Immortals don't actually find the play.
Click the lantern. It's not even click, it's tap the lantern button. It's so much easier to hit lantern. You just need to be in the area and you get a button. It's still players don't know how to click the button sometimes, though. I know I've made the mistake sometimes, and Sam has yelled at me, but we saw it a little bit earlier. But finally, this time, it looks like they're able to escape that, and they're still losing out across the map, Kangas. Like, mid lane, they just now pushed out another wave. They're able to take more camps away from Sheesh, and splitting gold, splitting experience from this far behind, not exactly what you want to do.
But at least Sentinels are trying to make plays. I like the look that they're giving right now, where they drop the Herald top, get that turret. They rotate towards the Dragon lane, try and take that turret. It was Immortals committing flash from Charm to try and stop that, and they had multiple members down there, but they didn't find anything. So Sentinels, they don't get punished for it, but their eyes are on the prize. They're looking for these objectives. As I say, that Michael Udall could be in trouble here. Takes aggro onto the turret, but enough shielding keeps him safe. Now, yikes, though. Ooh, could be in some trouble here.
Okay.
Arrow lands onto Sheesh. Now, Araki Zoro's there. The shields come through from Senna. The heals under turret. Sheesh will trade onto Yikes. Not the best you can hope for in that situation, but Sentinels, they do come out with an even trade.
I'll take it. If you're Sentinels, you're going to take that one. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Jungler using Sonic Wave Execute almost got tied up in a lot of crowd control. I thought Immortals played that almost perfectly. They were able to play that a little bit more cleanly. They would have potentially saved their jungler and gotten a kill on the response. We have Dragon up in 20, but it looks like we're going to get a replay of one of these plays. Kangas, my prediction's looking not so hot, buddy.
It's looking... Hey, I'm feeling good about mine. I don't know what to tell you. 3-1. I still think Sentinels are being competitive in this game, too. They're showing us what they got. Okay. Setup from Sheesh right there. I missed that kick to start it off. That was pretty clean.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering, look, I mean, just constantly in crowd control, can't get in range, can't activate the next one. If Charm's able to knock up Lee Sin,
The arrow lands. Beginnings is able to flash away before the package follow-up from Hoon. So Beginnings nicely done there. Quick on the trigger. Dragons up. Sentinels hope to fight for this one. Michael Udall, meanwhile, is taking a turret. This is going to put Sentinels up 2 turrets over Immortals. They don't have a gold lead because of it, so that means that Immortals have a lot of standing gold they can look for, but it is still something for Sentinels. They're going for these map plays, and I do like to see that.
Good resilience, and Immortals, they need a little bit more trigger discipline. The fact that that Ashe ultimate isn't resulting in a kill means that they're not able to do much with it. We were seeing they had access to the river. You don't have the Orianna there, so it's a 4v5. I would have expected for someone like Charm to just go for it, find a kill, find a fight, force some summoners. But now, this is their time for Immortals. Pull out the dragon and force Sentinels to make an awkward play. Sheesh, meanwhile, looks like they're going to just reset.
They're calling it off.
Do they just want mid lane?
I think they want mid lane first and then go back to the dragon. They also still don't have, I mean, the Corki package was used. They have everybody else's ultimates, though, so you're not really going to wait for the next Corki package. They're back on the dragon, and Sentinels are hanging around here. The Redemption's used to spot people out. Ashe Arrow misses, and Immortals will once again pull off of the dragon. They're just not committing to this objective. Yikes, there's that some damage?
Immortals!
Find it.
Immortals, what are we doing, gamers? We're not doing anything. We're just sitting here. We're talking about standing gold.
You're catching out Beginnings. There we go. That's what they needed. That was through the exhaust. With no Thresh available, way harder for Sentinels to actually take this fight. They're a champion down. That's a big repositioning tool, but the engage onto Goom. MTS just hard commits for it. Charm with the flank engage. Sheesh in trouble on the front line here. Immortals are fighting through Sentinels, and the shockwave misses. Michael Udall, that would have been a critical moment to turn the fight, but can't quite land it. Immortals, still low-ish health bars, but they're big enough. They should take this dragon.
Senna could heal them, and at this point, Beg is back. MTS is making their way here. I wonder if she tries to look for something. Using the arrow, finding Senna.
Charm follows up. That's a killing spree for Hoon, and a big pickup for Immortals because they're still on the dragon.
All right, so for Immortals, MTS, are you going to go for this? I don't know if we should, but Immortals, I feel like we've just been standing in this exact position for 2 minutes waiting for this dragon to respawn, and then the Ashe Arrow, similar thing, where they try to find a pick with it, it goes missing in mid lane, they're not able to find anybody, and we have this really awkward standoff between the two where they're just like looking at each other like, you swing, no, I'll swing. And it's like, what are we doing, guys? And I thought it was really good for Sentinels, but Beginnings playing way too aggressively on this Thresh, able to hop over the wall and ends up with Immortals finding a kill, finding themselves a Drake, and continuing to mount their advantage.
1 pick turns to 2 pick, turns to Drake. Immortals with the gold lead and Dragons stacking. Baron's up on the table too, so if they can find a big team fight, that's another objective that they can then look to clean up afterwards. So Sentinels, they're on the defensive right now. It's about catching waves. It's about making sure that you're not getting caught out. You're not falling into the traps that Immortals are setting up for them. And it seems like their strategy is Michael Udall in the side lane, Dragon laners in the mid lane yet again, and then send MTS into that Dragon lane there. But Immortals have full control over the top river.
You look at Immortals, I want to take a look at some of the item builds just because they're rather important for what they want to do with the game. I'm going to probably have to hold it. I think they were trying to look for something there. But Yikes has actually just opted to go for a little bit more of a Bruiser-esque build with the Blade of the Rune King and the Black Cleaver with the Stone Plate. You would think as a damage dealer and as someone who has a majority of your team's kills, you're wanting to go for the damage items, maybe pick up some lethality, stack with the Black Cleaver. But that Stone Plate just means Pantheon may do a little bit of damage for a short time, but will have so much durability, especially alongside the third ability.
And oftentimes, you'll go in, throw up your shield. I'll get back to that point because Beginning is hit by the arrow and will be destroyed to start off this fight yet again. Another pick for Immortals. 8-1 in the kill count. If they keep finding those, this game is all but over. They found a couple of them in a row. But the point was, Yikes, as the Pantheon uses the shield, as soon as that goes down, oftentimes players will hold their abilities and say, wait for Pantheon shield to go down. Okay, it's down. Now go. Well, that's when you just hit the Stone Plate, and then you're deceptively tanky for the enemy team.
You're huge tanky. That's going to be really annoying to deal with. Thresh, you know what the problem with Thresh is usually you're like, oh, he's such a defensive support. He allows for you to have instant repositioning with the lantern. But if Thresh is frontlining or having to, be the one to be in front of the enemy champions, it's really difficult to use the lantern and is very susceptible to picks. As we've seen time and time again, Immortals are punishing beginnings and getting kills and being able to start certain objectives.
But here we go. The Thresh actually does land onto Charm right there. Slowed down. Battle dances away. It's to safety. Didn't have to burn Flash there. But, okay, that was one moment where Beginnings actually was the one to make the pick rather than getting picked. And Pantheon holds down, but yikes. Doesn't find anything for it. Maybe assumed that Sentinels were going to push for that siege, but the rest of the team cleared the wave. So Pantheon will be down for a little bit longer. Dragon coming up here. A little under a minute now. That could be the next big magnet that pulls these teams to a team fight.
We're fishing with Ashe Ultimate. Take a look. We need to wait for more members of Immortals to kind of group up before we look for any kind of engagement.
Or they just do it right under turret.
Lands.
Charm starts it, and the arrow follows up. Lantern's there, but Sheesh flashes away from the lantern again, and still goes down.
Sheesh, hit the button. Hit the button. It's the lantern button. Sam is probably like banging his head up against the keyboard. He's like, please hit the lantern button. It's so much easier. But it leads to a pick and a start potentially
and now
here
Charm once
for
more.
the Dragon.
Beginning's in trouble. The package used by Hoon, cutting off the retreat path of Sentinels, and Hoon's on a rampage. The rest of Sentinels can't hope to clean up this fight. They don't have the damage. Mike Ludal threw out the shockwave. Didn't find much for it. Hoon gets another kill. Hoon going crazy in this team fight. Valkyrie's forward. One more auto. Mike Ludal's in the stasis. He gets it. The triple kill to Hoon.
There's another Ashe arrow. And it's halfway up on cooldown already. They're going to get an Ocean Drake here, Kangas. They're going to get the mid-turret. They're going to get more kills. And Sentinels are staring down the barrel of a 2-0 start for them in the best-of-5 grand finals.
Immortals are looking too clean. Immortals are looking too practiced and prepared. Their team fighting is unmatched in this third majors. And their decision-making also very impressive as well. You can tell Charm and Goom have incredible synergy there. Just getting that initial pick onto Sheesh. Yes, he didn't take the lantern, but keep in mind that was started because Charm and Goom are just so ready to go off of each other's plays.
You know how sick it is to be playing an AD carry that can operate in the same vein as something like a Varus? Now, Varus obviously provides so much more innate damage thanks to the poke build that he goes, but Ashe with the constant harass in the volley and with the always on saying, oh, I can just press ultimate and boom, you're out of the fight or you're dead. They're looking for it again.
Nice death sentence, lands onto Yikes, but again, he's so tanky. They can't kill this Pantheon. He's got the shield, he had the stone plate, kicked away, still alive. Now Hoon can go nuts in this fight. Charm getting onto the back line, CCing everybody. There's the lantern take from Rest. Like to see that, but Michael Udall very far forward, has to shockwave. Might not be enough because Hoon's following up. Legendary for the Corki, yet to die. And wouldn't you know, the fight ends directly on the Baron.
That's it. Immortals, they get this Baron. I don't think there's much answer here for Sentinels.
On MVS again. He's going to die to the final auto attack. Baron's picked up. Sentinels with only 2 members alive. 40 seconds on MTS, 30 on Michael Udall, 20 on Sheesh. Immortals might just go for the end.
There's not much ground to stand on if you're Sentinels. I mean, you have this setup, but she's not building damage. She's building for the utility tank build where it has the Frostborn Gauntlet. It also has the Black Cleaver, so is there to help other members deal damage. But you have a Jarvan who's a bruiser. You have Beginnings on Thresh. The Lee Sin at this point has no ground to stand on in this, so you're kind of just hoping that Orianna can do something, and at that point, the Senna's utility is not really being matched. So, Immortals, another 3 Drakes to their name, sitting at, waiting for the Elder. I wonder with this Baron, are they going to be much cleaner about it and just push to end the game, or are they just going to wait for the absolute 100% play to finish off the game and send us into Game 3? Sentinels... You're getting bot time.
There's arrow over the wall. Rest does get to safety. The rest of Immortals are still here, though. They don't have everybody, but, Sentinels can't kill anyone.
They do no damage.
Tanky they are. Hoon just has so much space to work with. Goes to the stasis, but the fight's already over. A sweep for Immortals. 5-0 team fight win. They will move up 2-0 in this series, and Sentinels on the
would be the team to take it, but they're just kind of like, it's fine. It's not the problem, but it is. It's becoming one.
And they had the opportunity to take it in the game 2, but then they opted for Lee Sin blue one, and of course Immortals are going to take that Ashen. They've been playing it pretty much every single game leading up to this finals. So if we see the same bans, I'm fine with that, but then Sentinels, you need to lock that in. And honestly, maybe even a Rakan ban is warranted against Charm. He's been popping off on that one too. But you had identified in that game too, at least don't give them a priority dragon lane. Because Immortals, when they have a dragon lane that can play with priority, they've been getting 2v2 kills consistently throughout the series so far. So just getting them off of what they've been playing off of their comfort picks would be huge. But already Sentinels are starting off with that Renekton ban. Kind of a remnant from that game number 1 where Araki Zoro did pop off on it.
So for me, there's a few ways that this can go. If we're giving up Ashe, we can leave the Varus up if we're Immortals, because we're going to be the ones to be able to grab it, and we can grab Rakan. In which case, Ashe isn't, we talked about this all the way from game 1, Ashe isn't really a problem, as much of a problem as something as giving Charm Rakan. So we need also a good support matchup that's going to pair with Varus, which it seems like Sentinels, they want to get rid of that for themselves.
Yeah, they did this.
To see Rakan gone, man. Rakan needs to go.
Sentinels banning Varus on blue side just signals to me that they don't play it. That Rest is not comfortable on this because...
Oh, no. Definitely not.
It's been permanently red side banned, so Sentinels taking that off the table. I mean, last time they did the Renekton, the Varus, and then the Xin Zhao was their final ban. Immortals, it's the same run back for them with that Riven Camille, and then it was an Olaf as their final one. So again, if Sentinels do the same bans, I'm not offended by it. I think this makes a little more sense. There we go. Okay, so this does two things. Because last time the jungle pool was so pinched that Sentinels felt forced to play the Lee Sin, but you had already predicted Yikes plays the Pantheon, so he was fine going back to that. This time they're leaving the jungle pool a little more open, and they still have the opportunity for that Ashe first pick. I think Sentinels have to take it.
They gotta go for it. If not, some other kind of answer, right? How many times are we going to test out an answer versus Ashe? We haven't seen an Ashe Orianna lane, so I'd be interested to see if Sentinels go for that. But they say, nope, no more. We're going to ban Rakan. We're going to first pick Ashe, and we're going to see if Immortals can bring us home to a 3-0, or if they're going to just try to, come up with something different.
I called the 3-1 on my prediction going into the series. I think that already Sentinels are doing a better job setting themselves up for that. But you're right, Immortals, obviously they still have answers. Xin Zhao, since it's on the table, they're going for it. Yikes heavily won the Xin Zhao into Lee Sin matchup, so Sheesh has had two pretty rough Lee Sin games in a row. I know he can pop off on this champion. We were highlighting Sheesh going into the match, so I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibilities, but just based on the last two times, it's looking rough. Immortals, though, they still get that Senna as well away from Sentinels, who had played that last time. So back to Lulu Gragas.
Good. I love this from Immortals. Play away from your bot lane. Now, Goom and Charm have looked great, but you know what you can do? Empower Yikes. You already have the Xin Zhao. Get him with the Senna. Get him with the Orianna. Have a strong mid jungle, and the supports already roam to the mid lane. I love this setup for Immortals. If you're going up against an Ashe as Ezreal, you're going to have a lot of fun. And we're seeing every single different pick. Sheesh picking up the Graves yet again from yesterday. We see Michael Udall on the Ahri, and Araki Zoro going all the way back to Major 1 with his most picked Malphite. This is going to be a fun one, and we're in for a game here, Kangas.
I love that Immortals take the Orianna away from Sentinels as well, because Sentinels had usually been picking that very early in their draft pattern, but now Immortals get Michael Udall off that. He's onto the Ahri. Elk, I know that this is one of your least favorite champions.
Please, no.
Based on the past games that we've casted and we have seen it, I would have to agree that often leaves a lot to be desired. Sentinels, at least it's a different look. It's a very different look than we saw in the first two games. They got Immortals more specifically on champions that are different, so we will expect a different outcome, at least in terms of the early game focus here, because I don't know if the Ezreal, Senna, actually I'd even argue that they can't just get hard priority over the Ashe and the Lulu. So I'm liking Sentinel's chances here.
Sentinels with this Ahri, I think, is going to be very strong in the mid lane, in the mid 2v2, but here's the problem. One, the only person we've seen pilot Ari to any level of success was Steezy, and obviously Michael Udall is not Steezy. And the Ari for Michael Udall has found no success whatsoever. And if we don't see an early game where Ari, you get the level 5, you're looking for a kill with Sheesh, then I think that Immortals are going to slowly choke themselves out, or choke Sentinels out of the game. You have a much better scaling team fight for Immortals. This Orianna is going to do so much more, and it's going to be up to see what they can do with the mid lane and how they activate the bot lane.
So eyes are still going to be on Sheesh then, basically, is what I'm hearing, because that Graves needs to make plays happen. The Charm lands. This is a good start, but Yikes gets out. Charm and Hoon are both here too, so Yikes is alive. Sentinels showing already the strength of their champs in this early game. They do win that 3v3 scrap right there, and we'll get this scuttle, but Yikes is fine to just go for that top scuttle.
Okay. A good early game start. Not really forcing anything out, but it does make Rest have to sit really far back in the lane. They don't want to get abused by how much poke can come out from the Immortals bot lane. And for the meantime, I mean, you're giving up some early priority. They can't exactly go for this invade, causing Sheesh to just simply dash over the wall. And in the meantime, it's up to Sentinels. Can they protect this top lane?
Yeah, I like this because they push Sheesh off of the invade. And now Yikes on the invade. Michael Udall's here. If Yikes doesn't smite this, Michael Udall might just steal it because not going for the
There's
kill.
a solo kill!
Zoro.
Oh my.
Oh, so close to death right there. And it looks like the blue buff actually was stolen. I don't see it on Yikes, unless that's just because he was in the river. Sometimes it's hard to spot out that particle effect.
Observers, to the mid lane.
If we can take a look at Yikes there to see if Yikes was able to secure that blue buff, or if it was Michael Udall, because the Ari was hovering around there. Observers will show us eventually here. But yeah, that was really close. Iraqi Zoro had barrier, so wasn't necessarily in too big of danger of dying, but very close. Okay, I still can't tell. It looks like he's on it.
He has blue buff. He has blue buff. He has blue buff. So now he has double blue buffs, which means he did successfully counter jungle. They have the level 5s. They're just poking constantly in this bot lane. We do have a minute before the dragon spawns, and so without anything really happening early on, it's up to the first play. I think from Sentinels, we'll have to see what happens with the first arrow, whether it lands, where it's going to land. There's not much you can do in top side in terms of a carry matchup, so it's going to be important for Sentinels. Can their first punch land, or is it going to be a sloppy one, and Immortals going to kind of take advantage of that?
And just to set expectations for what we've seen so far, Immortals have looked like the more coherent team fighting team, so you might favor them around this dragon, but the arrow does land in onto this support. Charm has to flash away. Polymorph was used. Follow up from Graves. Not enough damage. Sheesh, so close to getting that kill.
Oh my god. The worst part about this for Sentinels is that they didn't get many ultimates. They got the flash and the heal out from Charm, so if they want to be able to abuse that, it's going to be on Sheesh, but Michael Udall needs to put extra priority on trying to find these kills, and with kind of a stale early game here, and the focus on the Rift Heralds, I think the Sentinels are going to be caught unawares with how Immortals have rotated.
The Sentinels, they're not going to have the wild growth or the collateral damage for this next fight. Nope. That's Graves ult and Lulu ult down. They can't take this. And I think that the idea was, okay, let's give them Dragon to go for the Herald, but Immortals are on the Herald, so now Sentinels have to back off.
Can they find the Ashe ultimate, though? Iraqi Zoro is here, and this might be an awkward trade. Ashero's on its way.
It's coming up through the mid lane, lands directly in onto the mid lane. Hoon pops the barrier early, but this is a big fight. The engage from Iraqi Zoro on the tail end, though, picks up first blood as Sheesh will go down. Hoon is traded, but that is also the objective secured there by Immortals.
That's got to be painful, especially
and
now
MTS is going to die.
He's going down.
Oh, that's even worse now for Sentinels. They go down in the kill trades, and the Herald will take turret.
It goes from bad to worse. I think Sentinels not recognizing... I think MTS playing very disrespectfully. Someone that we've been praising for their stalwartness has kind of just fallen to the wayside here with multiple Gragas games. I mean... you just can't be there. Maybe not expecting that Senna and Ezreal will be able to do all that much damage, but yikes. Already level 7, level 8, had the Sheen in their back pocket with the longsword, so you do a ton of damage, and with a second Rift-Tailed crash here, that's just more gold falling into their pockets. They get the Rift-Tail, they get the first turret, they get first blood and a dragon. Everything coming heads for Immortals.
This is what happens because Sentinels were not able to trade objectives. They had gone for the Herald Asher, misses, and that's dragon secured. Immortals, do they take the fight afterwards? They can try and chase down Sentinels. Beginnings is the focus for Goom. Doesn't hard commit though. But Immortals, you're right. They get all the objectives. They get all the gold. They have a lead in this early game yet again, already up 2-0 in the series. They are so close to this 3-0 sweep against Sentinels, and they're also getting a pick here on the Rest. Flash heal away, Wild Growth used, but now Beginnings has nothing to keep himself alive. Will go down. Yikes can keep the chase down here. Rest in trouble. Flash used by Xin Zhao, and Rest is down. 2 more kills over to Immortals.
Okay, this feels like the ghosts of Sentinels Pass are just haunting them. This feels like a Major 1, Major 2 Sentinels coming into the Grand Finals, and we just kind of felt, we got like the older brother. All 5 members, we might need to have TOs investigate the accounts, because it's just like, what happened to Sentinels? They were so good at the beginning of the day and earlier yesterday, but now it just feels like all of the old mistakes, all of the old misgivings of this team are coming back to haunt them.
And they got to find a way back into this one, Alk. 2K behind. Already one dragon over in the favor of Immortals, ready to stack those up. And it just feels like a better, control over the map in general with 2 turrets to 1. What does Sentinels play here? I mean, from this game state, you already mentioned the importance of the early game for them, and it's slipping away. So how do they make sure the snowball doesn't get out of control?
They still have a pick composition. You look at what their team members are. You already have the Ashe ultimate at this point. You also have Ahri, as well as now an AP Gragas coming out from MTS. So you are fully engaged upon the idea of you find a pick on either the squishy immobile marksman on the side of Immortals or for someone like Whom, and you just pray that the counterpunch from Immortals is not strong enough to really break your back. At this point, Immortals are in a dominant lead. They win team fights. They scale better than Sentinels. And with every single objective going their way, you have to imagine, Kangas, this is getting... I mean, if you're an Immortals fan, you're like, yes, let's do it. We just
the Immortals fans are happy.
3-0.
I said 3-1. I'm still feeling a little confident.
I technically got it right. I got the game score right. Maybe not for the correct team.
We'll call that 50-50. You have 50% of the prediction correct. Just maybe not the more important part.
Cope.
Immortals grouping up right now, and they're looking right at Mike Ludol.
Goodbye, Ahri.
He's in a lot of trouble here. The Malphite ultimate committed, and that is one of the easiest pickups you can possibly find in a side lane. Another kill over as now Sheesh in trouble. Yikes directly on top of him. Has to use collateral damage just to get the safety. Using the ultimate defensively for the mobility to get away. Immortals are just asserting their dominance on this rift.
They're playing better. They're making better decisions than Sentinels, and I think they just have their number booked. Immortals historically have been the better team over Sentinels, and it's showing here again today. A team that, when we were looking throughout the majors today and yesterday, they've basically played very similar styles. Carry-oriented junglers, a bot lane that you can try to play away from, and topside can be a mixed bag as to what you get, but a strong mid lane in between. Sentinels almost kind of like have a copied version of that, but just a slightly inferior version, as Immortals... Again, 3 games in a row, play better than Sentinels each time.
They both have a similar read of the meta, but one team just feels more comfortable with that meta. And I want to remind everybody, Major 1, 2-0, Immortals winning it. Now they find another engaged mid lane. Rest. Chase down under turret. Will hit that arrow, but still goes down. And even Beginnings will fall too, so 2 quick pickups for Immortals as Dragon is spawning. They went 2-0 in the first majors in the lower bracket. Immortals knocked Sentinels out. 2-0 in the second majors. Immortals knocked Sentinels out. And then this time around in the upper bracket, Sentinels picked up 1 game. It was a 2-1, but Immortals still knocked them into the lower bracket. Immortals have just been the kryptonite to Sentinels this entire time, but Sentinels are fighting back in the mid lane here, trying to get the engage onto Hoon. The Shockwave misses, and Sentinels get away, but they do not stop the objective from going down. Immortals do pick up their second dragon.
They have a Mountain Drake and they have an Ocean Drake. If you already thought that you weren't going to be able to kill any of the members before, well, now they have an extra shield, and they're maybe fishing for Malphite, but good luck killing Araki Zoro.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. Has the barrier as well and a turret to hide under. So Sentinels, that's the Ash arrow. You talked about the pick composition. You have to hit the pick tools in order to pull that off. And Immortals 4,000 in the lead. It's looking very similar to Game 2, and we all remember how that one ended. The gold lead, the damage done by Hoon. Only a kill picked up by Sentinels. They got to find some way, somehow, to get back into this game. They do not want to end their entire, Major 3 run like this. Yes, making it to the finals is fantastic, but they still have a grudge to settle against Immortals for all the reasons I just listed before.
They want to win this, but I mean, from the depths of 4,000 gold and just a huge objective lead here from Immortals, it's going to take everything and then some from Sentinels to come back here. As Immortals, it's just something about them. We talked about it yesterday on the show, but they were down a pretty significant amount of gold pretty early on in that game against Sentinels, and they still came back in Game 3. I'll hold that. Yikes may be getting picked.
Ash Arrow starts it off, but Yikes just says, I'll take the fight! As Seta from downtown keeps Yikes alive. That's a lot of damage here onto the mid laner. Hoon's out. Michael Udall lands the charm, goes forward, will trade his life to make sure that the play continues, and Sentinels will trade 2 for 3. That is massive.
All right, awesome. And finally, Michael Udall, he kind of says, I've had enough. We're going to fight them, and we're going to go down with the ship if we have to. As Rakizoro and Goom are trying to fish. Got a little bit close there for Beg, but the Ahri makes the difference, finds and helps get them 3 kills in their back pocket off of Immortals, kind of being a little greedy there, kind of getting their hand caught in the cookie jar.
End of the day, though, it's just the gold from the kills for Sentinels. So yes, it's no longer a 4,000 gold lead. It's now closer to 3,000 gold.
We take those.
You take those. Absolutely, you do. It's just unfortunate that they weren't able to really get an objective afterward, but we will get another look at this here to see how they get the pick, because it's exactly like you said. You need to use this Ash Arrow. You need to use the Ahri charm to follow up.
I was a little bit scared here. Okay, I guess I was like, call an ambulance, but not for me. Immortals kind of start this off well, but even with a 4-man shockwave, it's not enough as we come right out of a replay. Looks like they're trying to find Michael.
How many times do we have to teach you? Tries to flash away. Spirit Rush out. Will actually survive as Sheesh now the target here. Oh, Shop Rush was so close. Ooh, almost walked right into that one, but does get out safely. Oh, no, beginnings. Don't do it. Don't blind check the brush. No. It's not safe. Flashes away. The outer tier 2 turret will fall here. Immortals, even though they haven't found kills, they are still getting these objectives.
One of the worst feelings in the world when you're playing Ashe and you're trying to go up against a Malphite and you press the first ability, the Ranger's Focus, is when you're just laying into them with a bunch of additional attack speed and attack damage, and you do no damage, and Malphite does more. Flash Engage!
Had the CC reduction, but they still get the pick onto Charm. All right, Sentinels, there we go. You got one. What more can you show us here? This is 2 plays in a row now. Irakizor doesn't have ultimate yet, but it's coming up soon. The charm lands onto Yikes. Goes for the engage. This is huge for Sentinels if they can kill this Xin Zhao, but now they got to worry about Malphite. That ultimate's about to come up. Explosive cast. There's the ult. Ult lands onto 1. Shielding. And he repositions. Rest gets to safety. Sentinels, they might do it. Winning the fight 1 for 2. Yikes goes for more. Doesn't find it. Hoon very low. Goom very low. The collateral damage. Oh! Not quite enough, but that was close. But Sentinels still win the fight. 2 for 3 trade. They can go for this dragon.
They're just going for it. And Sentinels, they finally, I think the stick-to-itiveness of the team comes on through. They made it. They've kind of started to scale. I'm not going to say it's fully out of Immortals' hands there, but a massive team fight victory where they find kill after kill in their favor. We're going to get a replay of that, but Kangas, I don't want to call it a comeback, but it's that sinking feeling in my stomach like if you're Immortals.
Yeah, it really is. I think I might have misspoken. That might have been a 1 for 3 trade for Sentinels, which is even better. But, like, you see what Immortals are wanting to do. They just don't have their ultimates off cooldown yet. Yikes goes in a little early, and then Sentinels, they just out-team fight.
And look at the shielding that's coming out. That locket from Beggs, the amount of shielding that this Lulu is giving means that they can't connect. They can't turn any of these into kills. And one by one, I think Immortals kind of just conga line in, end up giving more kills over to them. And it leads to a dragon. It leads them still keeping this gold lead within a tangible amount, like a within arm's reach.
Within grasp, yeah.
Sentinels, they don't want to go out. They don't want to go out without a fight here in the grand finals.
We said it after the series. They played earlier today against Cloud9. They don't give up. Sentinels do not give up, and they are still fighting for their tournament lives right now. They're going to need to win 3 in a row if they want to win the third majors. But
let's win this first game.
At least
let's win this game first.
Game 3 is looking a little better for them. So keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your focus on the game in front of you. Sentinels, just don't get picked off right now, because Arakizora does have that ultimate available again, and we see how willing he is to use that to find those picks. Asher was a little wide, doesn't find it. Charm lands, but no follow-up. Immortals are just controlling the jungle, controlling the choke points into the Baron pit.
I think if you're Immortals right now, you need to start forcing Sentinels' hands. You cannot allow them to continue to scale freely. There it is.
Picked. Right as
he's alive.
Still alive. Flash to safety. Heals. Wild growth. All the shields as well. Rest does not die, but think of all the tools that were just used there. All summoner spells on the 80 carry plus the Lulu ultimate. So Immortals think that they can get more. They keep pressuring forward. Flash forward by Rakizoro.
No.
The Asher's back up though. They take down Goom. Big pickup for Sentinels. They trade their 80 carry, but I think they might still have enough gas in the tank here. Rest is down, but Sheesh is up. They do have to back off, though. Michael Udall not feeling confident enough to go for this. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but still, I mean, with this deficit, you take this as Sentinels.
What are those shieldings coming out? Did you see Rest? He basically got a full HP bar. Just basically full of shields that, I mean, mitigate some of the damage we saw from Immortals. Stood their ground. And Sentinels trade 80 carry for 80 carry. And, I mean, the fight felt like a lot more members should have died on either side. But Kangas, we're getting into that moment. Are Sentinels trying to make a scaling comeback win here with the Ahri for Michael Udall and Ashe here for Rest? I don't care what happens in the end of this game. We're going to get another one of these games where Rest damage numbers have to be off the chain.
They're going to be ridiculous right now. And Hoon's been the big competition. Doesn't get the Corgi this time around. We'll see if the Orianna is able to output as much, but the Dragon's up in under a minute here. I feel like that's where the next action will be. Sentinels, they got the last one. Can they get 2 in a row? Immortals have been playing this second half of this game a little sloppy. Not quite as clean as we were expecting from them based on the first 2 games of this series. But they're looking to approach as a team right now. They already have the push in that Baron lane. They will be faster to the river.
And it looks like they're just trying to get some more items. There's a mortal reminder now coming in here for Rest, who I spoke to them doing an interview, trying to do a player profile for this guy. And one of the biggest things, learning marksman, learning the bot lane position here in Wild Rift is trusting teammates. They obviously have all known each other from another esports title, but when you're looking at them, learning this role has been the most important part of just believing in your teammates, not trying to make the 1v9 plays all the time. And we've seen it time and time again. Sometimes Rest does have some questionable positioning, but here in this game, his team is there. It's kind of like a little trust fall exercise, and it's coming up good for them. But Sentinels, they need to close it out, and they can't get too ahead of themselves.
Could be one final fight.
Vision. Dragon is being started. I mean, Yikes is just doing this by himself.
Yeah, he's taking the crab as well. Ultimates are available for everybody. Summoner spells almost for everybody. There's the combo!
Oh, no.
The engage from Elfite with Shockwave follow, but MTS survives it, so that's 2 big ultimates down. Explosive cast used. Yikes.
That's on the
Still on
Goom.
the front line. Look at this flank here from Michael Udall, trying to find somebody from the back line, but spotted out. Immortals, they're positioning so well in these team fights. They're not allowing anybody to get on Charm, anybody to get on Goom or Hoon. Irakizora and Yikes are your ideal front line, and they're just flashing forward. They're looking for it, but Michael Udall finds it! The angle into Charm, and that's the pick that Sentinels needed. Now 5v4, and Immortals, they haven't taken the Dragon yet. They still have the inside track on it, but Sentinels could go for Baron.
Okay, Hoon's ult is available. We have the Shockwave up. Arakizora's Malphite ult is also available, and we're looking for what they can do with it. Sentinels, they're waiting key cooldowns coming up, and Rest is incredibly low off of the Ezreal ult.
And they know it.
Arakizora, they're looking for it.
Oh, the arrow threads the needle. Charm lands onto Arakizora, but that Malphite ultimate's back up again, looking right for Michael Udall. Explosive gas used by MTS. That's a lot of damage followed up from Ahri, but already down. An early wild growth there onto Michael Udall, but still alive, still doing damage. Zoro's about to fall. Sheesh gets the kill as Rest has rejoined the fight. Immortals have to disengage. They got to retreat, low health bars, and Sentinels, they're ready to fight again.
They want to keep going for this. Now, Rest has regained into the fight. So needs to clear this Baron lane. If this top lane inhibitor goes down, it is massive for Immortals staying into this. Michael, please. Okay. Michael, please. Your entire tournament lives are staked on that inhibitor going down, and it doesn't quite yet. 157 HP. Someone on Immortals can come and break this and kill it and set themselves up with a win.
And Sentinels don't get an objective. They don't take the dragon. They don't take the Baron. So we're going to go right back to the objective dance. After all of that, it's still the same gold differential. Still the same setup. Just minus some summoner spells from both of these teams. But Sentinels might actually crack a turret for this because Zoro's still dead. But, oh no, the wave clear's there. Immortals stop it.
We're approaching the nexus or the critical point in the game where gold doesn't really matter. Michael gets cut out
on the Mike Ludal. He's dead. No. Big pick for Immortals. They will trade their jungler, Guardian Angel. Can he get out now? Doesn't have the flash available. Polymorph immediately does go down, but now Iraqi Zoro's joined in. The engage finds MT, and now the follow-up comes in for the rest of Immortals. They will continue to chase down under turret, pick up another one. That's the 80 carry down. It's Sheesh and Beginnings. Can they do it? 2 members left for Sentinels as Immortals will look to siege this tier 2 turret in the mid lane, breaking that one quick.
Oh no, and if they can't reset, I mean, Sheesh has no mana. They're waiting for Begs to come up. They're going to have to make a base defense on the Nexus.
Take the top one.
It looks like Immortals, from Charm. Exactly, Immortals, they play it correctly. They played a little bit slow. This is the game that I wanted to see them go for it. Double inhibitors. And Sentinels, they fought back from a similar position back in Major 2. I know I keep bringing it up, but it's important here as 2 inhibitors down, a more than almost 10,000 gold in favor of Immortals. This is looking dire after the shot caller, the leader for Sentinels, Michael Udall, gets caught out on a play and almost could have been Sentinels going out in an 0-3 fashion.
Such a good pick from Hoon right there. Throws out the command attack and immediately sees, says, all right, Shockwave, no hesitation. Just forces out the Spirit Rush and the Wild Growth, and they still get Michael Udall even through that Zonias. And now Immortals, they're up 9,000 gold. Super's pushing mid and top. It's going to be so hard for Sentinels to approach this next fight.
And man, I really love how Immortals are playing around Charm's ability to use the Harrowed Mist.
Oh!
Ultimate goes a little bit wide, but I mean, it'll be up in a little bit. It's already almost a quarter of the way on the cooldown, but just using that mist, trying to move in as multiple members. I think they're going to try and use this dragon. They don't necessarily want to finish it. It's nice to have as a kill, but they force Sentinels to come into this pit and say, look, fight us on chokes. Fight us where Orianna is good. And Sentinels try to answer with a mid lane play.
And Immortals actually back off the dragon. They try and find the pick. Though. Iraqi Zoro still has the engage, but look at the super stop. I think Immortals can just bleed this out. They know somebody from Sentinels has to go answer those supers eventually, and that's when you hard commit to the dragon or to the team fight. Make Sentinels make this decision. Very tough one to make. All right, Michael Udall does back. Earlier, Michael Udall did not have TP, might have had to take it now, but here's the engage, comes through from Immortals, finds MTS immediately. Follow up onto Rest, this Ashe has to flash to reposition. Sheesh in trouble as well, MTS is down, Yikes finds it, and there we have it! Immortals will win the team fight. Michael Udall on the backline, looks for the hero play, has to Spirit Rush forward, but Iraqi Zoro is there to play bodyguard, and Hoon is alive, everybody's alive. Immortals will 3-0 sweep their way